No true tornado outbreaks, which is some great news, but we've had our share of flooding, hail, and a lot of damaging storms too. Thanks for joining us on AccuWeather Weekend. I'm Melissa Constanzer.
And I'm Anna Azallion. Let's go ahead and start you off with a look at radar and satellite because we do have another risk of severe weather today, and you can kind of guess where.
Yeah, it's extending anywhere from parts of the Northeast right through the Southeast and the Gulf Coast, so we will have those thunderstorms out there. We continue to see them. Unfortunately, some bad news for the state of Kentucky as it is their big day to shine and the wet weather is here. There's a new storm system working into the west that will also bring some moisture soon to come for states like California.
Yeah, rain is really the headline for the weekend just about everywhere. Some of you for sticking with us here on AccuWeather Weekend, and it is Derby Day. The Kentucky Derby will be taking place this evening. So whether you are watching from home, maybe placing some bets in Louisville, maybe you're heading to a Derby party, let's take a look at what to expect weather-wise there in Louisville at Churchill Downs specifically. Temperature-wise, we're in the low 60s for today. And you see this right. We have the thunderstorm icon. We had more widespread rain and thunderstorms yesterday, and it's become more of a scattered system for today. So that means there is a chance that we have the rain and thunderstorms. They're going to impact Derby Day in some shape or form, whether it's before the race, during the race, or after. That is a guarantee. But the timing wise, it's a little bit hit or miss just because of the scattered nature, right? So taking a look at our hour by hour, I know it looks bad, but there is a chance that things dry out and we're kind of in between the scattered cells by the time we're at post time 6:57. There's also a chance that we do have the rain and the thunderstorms for post time, so maybe the mutters will be doing a little bit better with this year's race. It's just going to kind of depend on when the cells move through Louisville and Churchill Downs. Specifically, temperature-wise, we're staying pretty steady in the low 60s across the board. AccuWeather real field temperatures, we do drop down to the mid-50s this evening after the race, so a little bit on the cooler side there. But we are in spring now. We've been in spring for a little bit, and we're going to, well, as we look to the west, we are not talking wildfire danger right now. Instead, we are talking a late season storm bringing rain, thunderstorms, and even a little bit of mountain snow. We're not talking significant accumulation with the mountain snow, just some kind of wet snow showers, but we are talking beneficial rainfall down into Southern California. One of the last kind of instances of beneficial rainfall we're going to see in this area for a while as we head farther into May. Let's take a look at future radar. Now, this is going to be very scattered. As the storm kind of moves inland, we see a little bit more widespread as far as the rain and some of those thunderstorms. But when we talk about California and Southern California specifically, we're talking about very scattered showers. So as far as rain totals, we're not talking a lot. It's beneficial. We'll take what we can get, but we're talking a few tenths of an inch. So we continue on it through Saturday and into Sunday. Again, very, very scattered, but we do have some of that snow mixed in farther inland as well. We get some of those scattered showers down into Southern California even as we head into Monday. So Saturday, Sunday, even a little bit into Monday, and then Tuesday is actually the next storm that we are watching for. But before we get to that, we also have the cooler air moving in with this dip in the jet stream, mainly for Sunday. Now, this doesn't extend all the way to the coast, so it's not impacting temperatures for everyone, but some of us, we're going to see the cooler air in place, reflected by those temperatures in places like Las Vegas dropping from the mid-80s to the upper 60s. Phoenix going from 95 down to 78 for your Sunday, but places like LA, we're staying relatively steady in the 60s there. Now, I mentioned we have this for the weekend. There's more on the way. That means the ground is pretty saturated. There's not a lot of, space for this rain to go as far as soaking into the ground. So that's where we talk about some flash flooding risks as well. Not just for today, but the next couple of days. Melissa was talking a little bit about how that low really just stalls out. So it's stuck here into the Ohio Valley. And that means we just keep getting hit with the rain and the thunderstorms into the Northeast, especially tomorrow when we have another risk of severe weather. This is a lower end threat, a level 1 out of 4 for all the areas highlighted in yellow here. Again, damaging wind gusts, one of the bigger threats here, but the flash flooding, be prepared for that. At least some ponding in some areas because of these rain totals. I mean, take a look. Some areas, a very small area, I will say, but some areas getting 4 to 8 inches overall of rain. More of us in the 2 to 4 category or even 1 to 2, but that's still significant rainfall on top of what we already have seen. So let's take a look at future radar and kind of what to expect here. We see the front move through. Here's where we start to get into the I-95 corridor right around 8:30 p.m. You see the pockets of heavier downpours in here. That is going to continue even as this becomes a little bit more scattered. You can see where the low is just kind of stuck there spinning. And so then we just keep getting hit by some of these scattered showers and thunderstorms, even as we head into Monday, even as we head into Tuesday. Just expect to keep seeing the rain. And this is an instance where the AccuWeather free mobile app can really come in handy with that MinuteCast feature, because when we have these scattered showers and thunderstorms, it's hard to know, okay, am I about to head out and get hit with the rain? Do I need the umbrella? Probably not a bad idea to have it just in case, but that MinuteCast feature can tell you, all right, rain's going to start in 15 minutes, rain's ending in 30 minutes, whatever may be the case. Let's take you to Alva, Oklahoma now to start off our big three, looking at some of the other big weather stories.
Meteorological summer is just weeks away, and it's shaping up to be a warm one for many across the country. Lincoln Riddle spoke with our long-range experts to find out what's in store for the United States this summer. Of course, as we talk about thunderstorms, they come with summer too, and there's going to be more of that coming through as we get through the springtime pattern here across the southern plains. Rain returning for us Monday into Tuesday. And let me just say, this is actually a good thing. We do want that moisture to come about. It's just when it comes with the risk for flooding, that can be problematic. What I will say is we've actually done a lot of work to kind of lessen some of the drought here in these locations across the plains and the high plains as you work your way through some of the southern tier of the nation where we still have a problem with the drought extending through West Texas and also towards the Rio Grande Valley, especially the upper part of the Rio Grande Valley. These locations probably won't get as much rain as we want, unfortunately, from the pattern to come. We do still have some showers and thunderstorms around San Antonio to Houston and Corpus Christi today. But there's a lot more dry weather to come as we go through places like Dallas, Oklahoma City, not just today, but even into tomorrow. Notice how the cold front moves off towards the east, clears us out. It's our day of quiet before the storm pattern starts to break out into the plains. So we actually enjoy a pretty quiet weekend as a whole across the southern tier of the nation. You can see Oklahoma City 73 for your high, San Antonio back into the lower 80s. Beautiful day in Corpus Christi with some sunshine and a few clouds. Then we start to get into this pattern that turns a little bit wet and stormy. Of course, we've already started to hear a few rumbles of thunder across the north central tier of the nation in the past few weeks. There's more of that to come as we get into the months of June, July, and August. But May finishing off fairly quiet for most of the north central plains, or I should say starting off pretty quiet here across most of the north central plains. We do have the cool showery weather still remaining across some of the Midwest. Drought monitor shows, unfortunately, where we're getting the clouds and the showers, and some of that moisture today, even into tomorrow, is not where we need it most across the Missouri River Valley. That's where we really want that water to come down and benefit some of those there across the high plains. Rapid City, it's another sunny, bright day, 77.
You end up in an area that does experience some flooding. There's a couple things to keep in mind, right? We always tell you to stay out of floodwaters, whether you're driving, turn around, don't drown, or whether you are on foot. And it's not just for the obvious reasons that, the floodwaters can carry you away, but also because there's a lot of stuff in that water. There's electrical hazards, especially if there's any power lines down. We're looking at damaging wind gusts along with the flash flooding threat. So that could lead to power lines that are down maybe in the floodwaters, and that is a bad combination, obviously. The water is often very contaminated. You don't know what's in that water. You don't want to be messing with it. Now, depending on where the flash flooding is, maybe it's a flooded building, there can be some structural damage that may not be obvious quite at first. And then, of course, you have the mold and mildew that you're dealing with. Other issues are, debris that can be in the water, any kind of pests, or even gas leaks that can be quite dangerous.